Are you aware of the minors who were arrested during the End Bad Governance protests in Nigeria? Those guys below 17 years old that were arrested all in the name of coming out to protest against hunger and hardship in the land. This is the face of some of them. They were arrested August during the End Bad Governance protests, taken to the courts, and the charges against them was actually the charges on treason that they had wanted to overtake this administration. And currently, as we speak, these guys are remanded in court. But one of the shockers for me is that when they got to the court, the lawyers against them were saying that these guys are not kids, they are not young. While they were at the court, about four of these guys collapsed because they were not well fed. Look at them looking so malnourished, looking like they've never eaten. It is their own lawyers who had to resolve to giving them biscuits and food in the court. So, from a recent hearing, it was mentioned that the Attorney General of the Federation had given them a charge. On this charge of treason, the Attorney General of Federation had said that they are to pay 10 million naira fine per person. If you are to do an head count of the number of boys in that video, in the video you have just seen, you'd see that there are over 30 of them. So 10 million naira in 30 places. You can do the math and know what the result would be. So the question is, people came out to protest against hunger in the land. You resolve to arresting them for protesting against hunger, saying that they are they committed a treasonable offense. Look at this minor. The defense lawyer was even saying that he was saying that these boys are married, they are married men who were carrying placards and flags from Russia, I think, to overthrow this government, calling on the military to aid them and to help them. Now, the question is, where exactly are we heading to in the country? If people would come outside to protest against hunger and you arrested them for that, saying that they committed a treasonable offense. And another thing we should look at is where exactly do the Nigerian government want these boys that they have called an adult, even if they look like an adult to them, where exactly do they want them to get 10 million naira fine on each head, 10 million naira per person? According to the lawyers that are working on this case, they said they would try as much as possible in their own capacity to raise this 10 million nairas in according to the number of boys you see from this video. The question is, can one person foot this bill alone? I mean, we saw somebody who committed a treasonable offense, okay? Let's not call it, it's not a treasonable offense. We saw somebody who committed an offense on naira mutilation but was only granted a 500,000 naira bill, somebody that is worth billions of naira. We saw another person who had committed an offense, a punishable offense under the law, who, instead of being in prison for 6 months, was taken to an apartment where he enjoyed himself for 6 months. And they came out to tell us that he had served his punishment. It is in this same Nigeria that we have a mobile embezzler, somebody who had embezzled 80 billion naira, who currently have charges of 100 million naira on his neck, and is still walking freely on the street of Nigeria, who was never arrested. But we have these young guys who had only come outside to say, we are hungry. Give us food to eat. Lessen your policies. Make it easy for us to live. Make life comfortable for us. Bring back subsidy. Even if you're not bringing back subsidy, can we put an end to bad governance? Can we put an end to bad policies? These guys were arrested and were asked to pay a fine of 10 million naira. The question is, if they are to sell these guys to organ harvesters, really, they will never be able to get the hundreds of thousands, that hundreds of millions that is needed to pay for the bill. If their family members are to sell everything that they have, looking at the faces of these guys, you would see that they've not come from rich family or the wealthy family. They are not from the 1% of the 1%. Apparently, they are sons to the poor masses. So if they are to sell everything their generations has ever owned, they will never be able to get that 10 million naira. Well, then, in another story, we can see here that the Attorney General of the Federation is saying that he is considering dropping charges against hungry minors. Let's quickly see the story. The Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Lateef Fagbemi, SAN, has commenced moves to drop the charges brought against the 32 minors arraigned before Justice Obiora Egwatu of the Federal High Court in Abuja. Hours after the arraignment, the AGF disclosed in a statement late Friday night its interest in taking over the matter from the Inspector General of the Police. He noted that there were issues his office would like to review. I quote, so according to them, this matter for now has been adjourned till January. The question is that, so these minors are going to be they are still going to be remanded until January since August 2024. So we can see here that the only offense in Nigeria is to be poor. When you are poor and you have a voice to speak to your leaders and tell them that we are poor, we need your help, you have committed an even more terrible offense. So your offense will even be aggravated when you are poor, you have a voice, and you dare to air your voice. So we can see that that's the case of Nigeria, of this minors right now. So we can see at the moment that there are categories of people in the country. There's a category of the masses who dares to raise their voice against the government. And there's also the category of the rich who, when they embezzle in billions, it is not an offense until their embezzlement runs in trillions. It is in the same Nigeria that we have leaders who would say when you embezzle in millions and billions, it should not be categorized as an offense. They said this at a national TV, and these guys are still working freely. It is in the same Nigeria that we have a past governor of a state, Yaya Bello, the governor of Kogi, the past governor, an ex-governor of Kogi State, who had embezzled 80 billion naira. $billion actually, not naira. And this man has been having back and forth, acting and shooting movies with EFCC since January 2024. And here we are, some minors who has no voice for themselves, and they said, okay, let's arise and tell the government, let's make our voice very loud so they can know how hungry we are. Look at these guys lying helplessly in the courts. They collapse right there in the court. Look at the dress on their body. Do they look like they have 10 naira in their bank account? Talk more of 10 million naira. I think at this point we would draw the curtain and leave Nigerians to share their thoughts with us on what you make out of this story. Look at these guys. Hungry, battered, beaten, remanded in the courts just because they had come outside to say, put an end to bad policies. Would like that you share your thought with us in the comment section. So we'll be going on a quick break now. As soon as we get back, we'll dive into another story that will interest you. Stay with us. We'll be right back.